my beautiful, gorgeous beans of light to the Nic and Bean unscripted. Yeah,
I'm Beanie.
I'm Nic.
We're going to take you on a journey of conversations that include things like purple unicorns, aliens, real life stuff, and anything in between.
We can't wait to see where these conversations take us, because I can guarantee you they're going to get pretty cray-cray.
Well, with you in the room, Nicola, anything can happen.
That is true. Thank you for joining us on our journey. If you have any input that you want to add to this channel, we would love to hear from you. In the meantime, let's get the show on the road. So today, Beans, first podcast.
First ever.
I want to talk about parents.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a big topic, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because I think we underestimate the impact,
the importance of parents.
That's true too. Why do we even need them? But seriously, I wanted to talk about, because I think we underestimate parents in terms of the impact they leave on us, right? So for me personally, when I was growing up, wing chicken dinner, my parents were amazing, right? However, I didn't realize until I was like fucking 22 or maybe older that I actually had them on a pedestal for a long time. Like, I actually thought that, I just thought they were fucking bee's knees. In fact, I didn't even draw the correlation until I had a conversation when my family fell apart and I was ostracized, and my mum unfortunately had cancer, and I did some stuff that apparently wasn't really great. And my dad said to me, you broke the stone code.
And what does that mean, Nicola, for the people out there? What's stone anyway?
Yeah, so basically, if you let me finish, thank you, darling, is that I realized that there was this perception about being a stone and what it meant. And in that space, it was like, for me personally, being in that space, it felt quite narrow-minded, in that linear, like we were very sheltered. We didn't, and there's nothing. And by the way, if you're a fucking parent right now, like, I'm not judging, or I am very thankful for everything that's happened in my path, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But in reflection of what that was for me growing up, it was, quite sheltered. And, there was one way, and you believe this, and there was nothing else that you really were open to. It was really linear. It was really sheltered and protected. And what I learned when that happened was that, I was living, when I had my parents up on this pedestal, I was looking for their approval, which is why I think this is such a big topic.
And so I totally agree with you. For those of you who don't know, Nicola's surname is Stone. That being the stone code, which is what I was referring to before, not to jump on your story.
Sorry, darling.
Just wanted to make sense of it. The Virgo in me had to make sense of it.
That's true.
You went into something there and you talked about like your family, like something happened, you broke the stone code, but you had them on a pedestal. So are you talking about it in a sense of saying that we tend to put families on a pedestal, or we tend to have this distorted idea of what parents should be? Because in my and I've asked you a question, so I'll let you answer it.
No, you go.
Okay. Because in my experience, or other people's experience shared with me, we do have this distortion or strong belief system that parents should be beyond human, in a sense. True. A lot of our pain and suffering, a lot of our identity, or a lot of our ideas come obviously from our upbringing, pre-7, etc. So when we're talking about parents, and a lot of like clients of mine, for those who don't know, I do kinesiology as well, a lot of trauma comes from their belief of not being loved enough, being too loved, whatever, like not getting their basic needs met and all of that stuff. And my reply is, wouldn't it be great if everyone that wanted to become a parent would do a course and have to pass a certificate, right? Because at the end of the day, parents are just people who have procreated. Whether they meant to or not is a different thing. And even if they didn't mean to, it doesn't mean they didn't want you, just so you know. And they may not have, but that's okay too. They can still love you. But they're just humans. You know, so I guess, is that what you're saying? Like, you're saying we put them on a pedestal and it can easily come crashing down because it's a falsehood. I would say it's an unfairness on parents, to be honest. I swing between I think everyone should have a certificate before they have a child, so they understand emotions, how to communicate emotions, how to communicate in relationships, which I didn't know either based on my general upbringing, because no one in my family really knew how to deal with emotions or talk about emotions, or you know.
And that's where we've come from. I feel like, you know, when I talk about, and not to say, yeah, that's where I feel like we've come from. You know, if you think about the world and how we're changing, you know, emotional intelligence is like fucking second to none. These kids that are getting born these days, they're like spinning out shit that I'm fucking spinning out at 44, going, how the fuck do they can be so smart at that age? And I'm just working it all out at 44, right? Like, what the fuck? But this is the thing. And so my parents, and I mean, all things aside, you know, I think when I talk about putting your parents up on a pedestal, I think that I was so ignorant to it. You know, I was so ignorant to this perception that we have of parents, and how, you know what it is, how much it fucking rules your life. Because when you look and realize and see how much you still seek their approval so that, you know, you're a fucking great human being, that you're successful, that you're fucking ticking all their boxes, whatever that may be. Like, I didn't honestly get approval from my dad until, what I felt from was when I fucking opened up a restaurant, and we had, I mean, unfortunately, he was going through dementia. So, you know, he was going.
I don't mean to laugh. I finally got accepted by my dad when he went through dementia. Not to take away from me, sorry.
100%, right? So the thing is, but then, you know, that emotional state, because when you get dementia, there's this whole emotion that starts to come through for these guys, and then they start fucking expressing themselves. And I saw my dad, like, for the first time, being the most emotional, loving fucking person that I have ever seen. And it was like this moment of approval that I got from him. And it was really unfortunate, but fortunate for me is that I realized, you know, a long time before I opened up the restaurant, that I sought that so much. And that's the problem that I feel like we don't really realize, is that it impacts us.
Of course. And of course, it all comes down to self-worth outside of that, for sure. I think of, like, when I go back to the pressure on parents, like, you know, I put a hell of a lot of pressure on my dad to be, well, quite simply a dad. I didn't think I was asking too much. It's like, it was his decision, not mine. No, it was my decision too. That's it. But I, you know, now that I'm in a really good place with that, and I want to be accountable for my side of that in the little shithead stuff that I did, because I was so angry. You know, I was so angry that he didn't show up as a father, and I was so angry that it wasn't my needs. Like, so that pushed him more. And I know that a lot of his behaviors came from insecurities and his own demons and his own turmoil and drinking and everything else. And so I just pushed it even more. Like, everything that I did, when I look back on, it was like that little child just pushing it away more and creating even more of the monster, per se, because I wasn't getting my needs met. And obviously I'm a child, so you know, all I'm doing is the way I know to put out distress signals and be heard, which is usually, I hate you, I wish you were dead, or I wish I was dead, or whatever it is, which is dramatic for kids to do and parents to do. My point being, I just totally lost my point about it. But we were talking about
the fact that the fact that we look for approval, right? And it puts so much, it impacts us so much.
It does, but that wasn't what I was talking about.
Okay. Anyway, well, the thing is, when we go into it impacting us, we look, you know, it affects where we what decisions we make, what fucking jobs we go for, you know, how we utilize our money, you know. And I think the biggest thing is that in this process, the most important thing is to question fucking everything. Question everything that
every belief,
every understanding that you know about, you know, your family. What is your values? I think the pivotal point when all that shit fucking happened years ago for me was I just started questioning, who the fuck am I?
I was just about to say, like, this is literally when you ask the question, who am I? That's when you start to look at, who am I compared to how I'm conditioned, right? And this isn't like a deliberate brainwashing from your family. I mean, some families it is, potentially, but hopefully not your family. You know, it's this idea of what we know. You can't not do it, right? Because if you're in an environment, say we have children, which we don't, so we're not judging anyone's parenting because we're not them. Don't judge us back. But like, if we had kids, right, they're constantly watching everything we do. So if the first word that came out of our child's mouth was fuck, I would not be surprised, right? And we're not consciously trying to brainwash a child or condition it into doing that. But that's the normal, you know what I mean? Like, I know I say it quite a bit, and you definitely say it every second sentence. So, you know, like, of course the child is going to be doing that. And then to, like, you know, I think about being a parent and turning around and saying, you're not allowed to say that yet. I can say it because I'm an adult, but you can't. Like, what a double standard anyway. Like, that whole thing of what, you know, parents got away with in the past. And like you said earlier, with younger generations coming through, being more savvy, some people might say too enlightened or too politically correct or woke or whatever you want to say, but I honestly believe in it as a whole, they are more, that they'll pull their parents up on something if they turn around and they say, I can do this, but you can't do this. And it's like, well, if we're humans, we should have a general what we can do. And of course, a parent can smoke cigarettes and an 8-year-old shouldn't, or a parent can drink alcohol and an 8-year-old shouldn't. Like, I understand those things, but as general respectful behaviors as parents, and if we were parents, I think that we would have to lead by example, because they're always watching everything they're doing. And if I'm watching children, I'm not watching them in a creepy way. When I'm watching children, I get fascinated by their developmental stages, and I'm watching them respond to their siblings and respond to their parents' responses to them. And you can see how all the mapping takes place on such a subtle but profound level. Like, what we see as subtle for a little sponge that is open pre-7 is fucking huge. Like, you know, if I did a behavior towards you and mum turned around and said something, we're not sisters, by the way, that's creepy too. But if a mum, say we were sisters, and mum turned around and said something to me, or said that I was great and you were standing there trying to be great, and I got the accolades for it, like, that automatically changes a belief in you, right?
Yeah. It's true.
And so I know we're going all over the tangent, but that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky for parents.
Yeah.
Like, because when are they, and I guess this is going back to what I was talking about with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, allowing them to be human, because in humans, all humans have some form of suffering. Right? Even if their life is perceived to be perfect, I can guarantee you, after 14 years of kinesiology, there is something you'll find in anyone, no matter how perfect their upbringing.
100%. You wouldn't be human if you didn't have these fucking flaws.
Yeah, there's almost trauma about having it too good.
Yeah, 100%. You know? I actually fucking was saying that. I met this chick when I was working in hospo, and she actually turned around and she goes to me, you know, I said, I've just been healing and stuff like that. She goes, you know, I had the most perfect upbringing. I have nothing. And I thought to myself, is that even fucking possible? Are you like on the surface? Are you even under like getting where I'm at with, you know, emotional intelligence and maybe, but, you know, all things aside, I guess, you know, like, I think fucking kudos to her. If she's gone through life and fucking blitzed it, and she's born Taylor Swift basically and been sparkles from her ass ever since, like, kudos to it. But the reality is, I think most of us
don't have sparkles coming from our asses.
I'm working on it.
However, I would want to.
Yeah, I'm working on it. And the thing is, with, you know, I think about my parents, who I fucking love incredibly. I mean, my dad's passed now, but, you know, although I had a good belt of not liking them for a good amount of time, because I'm fucking human, I've healed a lot in that space, you know. So although, you know, I, you know, saw that there was absolute discrepancies with, you know, my worth and compared to their view on me, you know, I wanted to make it a mission. And by the way, when all that was happening, I had fissures. Right now, if anyone,
she's not talking about the ones in a glass round bowl.
Yeah, I'm talking about fissures like cuts on the anus, right? Next level. And I feel for any person who has had fissures, and I know I heard through the grapevine that pregnant people, when they have birth, it's actually quite common. Now, I had it for 18 months. 18 months. Every time I went to the fucking toilet and did a shit, fucking tears broke open again. And it was intense. And 18 months. And then I looked up the meaning of fissures, and it actually means, you know, you've got trouble with your family, and it's, you know, it's all just fucking coming to shit, basically. And
someone's a pain in your ass.
Someone's a pain in my ass, you know. And we're saying that, you know, putting that fissures comment aside, because we're moving on now, is that, you know, I always wanted to be close to my parents at an authentic level. So
when you say close to your parents, do you mean accepting wise or relationship in general? Right?
Accepting wise.
Right.
I wanted to be, you know, as real and honest and everything I possibly could to, and that's why that saying goes, you know, and I don't know if you believe this, but this is why the saying goes, you know, your parents are here for a reason. Like, they're there, your family.
Yeah, everything's here for a reason.
Yeah, that's fucking true. But family, that's a cornerstone, right? It's like fishers on steroids. They're just there fucking triggering you just because they know everything about you, and they just, you know, and it's that whole child dynamics. I was a twin, so there was even more dynamics in that. But and then the idea that as a contract, before we're born, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, before we're born, you know, we're signing contracts. We're choosing our fucking parents. We're choosing.
I believe that. And I believe I have this vision of, sorry,
no, go.
Didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Because we tend to go somewhere totally different. I'd like to go somewhere different. Yeah. I have this image of myself standing in this, I don't know, it's almost like a rocky place, but it's probably up with the Ascended Masters. Anyway, I'm standing there with like 4 or 5 Ascended Masters, and I've got these tablets, like, not pill tablets like
iPads. No? Not iPads?
No, like the
I'm talking, you know, when you talk Ascended Masters, maybe they're new age, and they're, you know.
No, like the emerald tablets or whatever. I can't, they're not coming to me now, emerald tablets.
I'm going to say iPads.
Like scripts, like old, like on old paper or concrete or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you've got these 4 options, and I'm reading through, and this is what I think about when life throws the little bomb at me. And I get this image of myself. It makes me laugh every time, because I'm standing there with these Ascended Masters waiting to come into Earth, and I've got these 4 options, and I'm reading through, and I go, oh yeah, all right, yep, I'll choose this. Like, this shit thing that's just happened to me, I know I chose it because I kind of wanted to have the experience, and I wanted to fucking nail it later. So that's my thing to get over. So that was my segue about you saying, do you choose your life?
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, like, with that, I mean, I will never know the answer to that until I'm dead, and then I won't be actually able to communicate with you because I'll be dead. But
how do you know that when you die you're going to get more answers?
Well, I'm gonna think that we go through a system.
I asked that question though because the other day I had an Osho book, and I opened it to a page, and it was talking about like how we spend our life fearing death. But when we come in, we didn't know. So how do you know you're going to know? How do you know that the journey from death isn't better than the journey into life?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I just would like to, if I had information to share and know that I knew the process. I guess I'm so intrigued with the process of, fucking conception, the universe, what happens when we die, and I've got snippets of how it all kind of functions, and I don't really know, but it kind of, it kind of slots in nicely with my ideas. So, I mean, getting back, because we're segueing, and we can talk about the ideas of, conception through to death at some point.
That's our dog's ears.
That's our dog.
Saying, give me my dinner.
But, I truly believe that we choose our parents, and that they're here, they're here to bring about our shadow work. We're here to work out this karma that we have to filter through in this lifetime, whether we filter through this time or another fucking lifetime, that they're here to assist us. I mean, all people are here to assist us in our karmic work to unleash fucking catapulty unicorn purple ship flying dust, really. That's what I think. What do you think? Purple dust shits?
I think you were talking about unicorn farts.
Yes,
technically. I think everything happens to us for a lesson, to learn and grow and come home to ourselves. And I think that this is a conversation that could go on for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're reflecting, you're going, well, is this relevant for me? I think, when we come to our parents, as much as we love them, and authenticity and that connection is absolutely vital. Like, we want to be authentic. We want to be our total selves. I would totally, go into and ask yourself, do you still seek approval from your family, and how is that holding you back in your life? Where are you playing small? Where are you not taking fucking risks or anything, whatever that it may be? Where
are you making choices to please or appease them?
Yeah,
it's a big to be enough.
Yeah, it's a big topic, and I just totally think it's the most rewarding journey I've been on in terms of my own self-discovery, because now my relationship with my mum is really beautiful, and there's attachment there too. I fucking didn't even mention attachment. We are attached to everything in our lives, and being attached to your parents is again another insecurity or a shadow that manipulates your behavior, and we don't want to be manipulated or have a reason to manipulate situations because of our own insecurity.
Well, I think we have to have a whole another video now on ego and why we manipulate, and all of the other things, because we could just keep cycling because I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah, it's so good. I hope you fucking love this first episode. It's been a roller coaster of awesomeness, and I look forward to our next one, which will be next week.
We'd love to know what you think. If you've got any input that you'd like to give to us, any questions you have to ask or get answered, and also maybe you've got a story that you can tell us about your family or your relationship to your parents.
Yeah, hit us up, YouTube, the deals, and anything in between. Other than that, we're out for now. Chew.